Alrighty, hello and welcome back. Thanks everyone for getting here. Will, conscious your time's very precious, mate. And Dimitri, I think you're skipping a uni class at the moment, so thanks for that.
Keep it on the hush, mate.
Don't tell us, teacher, mate.
Too easy. Awesome. Well, I don't know. I think we're both, or all three of us, are pretty keen to sort of just recap what's been, a pretty whirlwind month, and then dive into some of the exciting things we've been up to and what's coming up.
Yeah, it's been about a month since we did the official rebrand, I think. So coming up to that, it's pretty exciting. I think the biggest change is just the amount of content we're putting out now.
Definitely.
Interviews, we've been doing a lot of them as well. I think the next big thing is just getting that into clips and getting that onto all our platforms. And big thanks to Dimitri, who's obviously been running pretty much all of that. I mean, Charlie and I would be pretty lost, I think, without Dimitri.
You guys doing the hard stuff, all the interviews and all the coordination with the guests and everything. So
gives me some appreciation for people who edit their Instagram photos and stuff. Like just the amount of work that goes into making something look schmick. It's not insignificant.
And we still got a long way to go. But it's good. No, it is obviously everything's going to be a work in progress. It has been a bit of a whirlwind month for sure. I mean, we did the live LinkedIn post of you guys in Times Square. That was on the 26th of September.
So we thought that was real as well. People kept asking me, did you guys pay for a billboard in Times Square?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a bit out of the budget. But that was part of the launch. We just wanted something that was going to catch someone's eye and stop them from scrolling. And that's part of what you're saying, making things look schmick. It's in this digital age, it's really about content that has such a short lifespan. It exists on someone's feed for, a few days maybe, and then it's lost in the abyss. So, that's the game at the moment on social media, and that's the game we've entered into, and that's part of the fun.
Well, it's actually funny you say that. Like I woke up this morning and had the displeasure of having to share a room with Will over the past few days, and when he was scrolling through, what's it called, doom scrolling or whatever.
Doom scrolling this morning,
doom scrolling through it, and every now and then you just see him stop for a bit, start scrolling again. And so we can imagine what people do to our reels. And it's probably straight through, but every now and then little things like that we're trying to incorporate to try and stand out.
100%.
I think a couple little wins like the Matt McLennan clip on gold, around 3K views, which is pretty good.
No, it's going
we won't
well.
talk about our TikTok, which apparently we're a bit censored on there. So we got 0 views in all 3 of those clips, which is all right. But it's going well. The Instagram, I think, it's building.
It's ticking along. It's just, and that's part of what this month was. So it's been, like we said, almost a month pretty much since we launched, and it's just getting into the operations, the flow of the work, of all the different little tasks that you sort of take for granted, but are often overlooked when you implement a strategy like we have. And then it's trying to now refine it, which is really the focus for the next month or so.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also and for me, not because I don't trust all both of you, but letting go of some parts of the process and understanding that sort of don't sweat the little things. Like we had someone, we had a guest yesterday over at IMARC, Brian Quinn. He said not sweating the little things is sometimes really important, and for us, I think that's been something that I've really taken away. You want it's attention to detail. Doesn't mean that you need to stress over every little granularity. It's that you stress over the important things, and redefining that in my head was pretty important.
Yeah, I think Steve Kovac said the exact same thing. It's he believes a lot in the 80-20 rule. Like if it's 80% good, he reckons that's good enough. Like sweating to make it 100%, 99%, as good as it can be. Oftentimes just puts people off, or they're like, oh, why do I need to make it super perfect? So not sweating the little things is a thing that's actually come up a fair bit recently, actually, with Steve and then Brian as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and to Steve's credit, he said when he first came into sort of leadership roles and having to work in teams and delegate, it was probably 99 and 1.
Yeah, 99 and 1.
So sort of sweated 99% and didn't worry about 1%. And you're just never going to build a scalable platform or business with that mentality.
Definitely not the frequency at which we're trying to post and put out content, and it's only going to increase from here. So we took a decision, given the relaunch. Typically, you guys have been releasing an episode a week for pretty much the last 2.5 years, and now we given the relaunch and the amount of added workflow, we took a decision to say, okay, and like full credit to Charlie for initiating this of saying, okay, we're going to release an episode a fortnight at the start, just while we get used to everything, with the idea of ramping up in a few weeks' time. And I think it's been a really good thing to stress test our processes. And as we refine on that every single week in our meetings that we have, it's just only going to improve from here, hopefully.
Yeah.
So,
And I think like it's interesting, like nothing we've done so far, we've sort of said, oh, this is the way it's going to be forever.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting for anyone who's building, whether it's, you know, a podcast, some other form of business, like cafe, whatever.
Yeah.
You're constantly sort of looking and open to change.
Definitely.
It's probably the only certainty you really have is that you'll need to change, and that's So for me, that's probably been the biggest takeaway from our launch. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. It's
Yeah,
been a whirlwind, hasn't it? It's I can't believe it's only been a month. It's
Yeah.
absolutely wild. But so if we look back, then we've had obviously the launch podcast went out with Larry Anthony.
Yep.
And then we also had a podcast with Matt McLennan. But in the middle of all that, you guys went off to New York for a couple of weeks. So maybe that's probably the biggest thing that's happened in the last month or so, in addition to the launch, of course. But so how was that, boys?
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. Yeah, everyone says how cool of a city New York is, but then actually getting over there and
First
being on
time,
the ground.
yeah?
It was I went over when I was like 12, but
Yeah, okay.
first time on my own. So
Yeah.
Getting let in as well. That was a win.
That was a big win.
That was a win.
'Cause we were there on a tourism.
Yeah, exactly. which was fantastic. And look, we did, like we really enjoyed it.
Charlie did the whole flight in his suit as well.
Wow, that's
flew in from Sydney to Brisbane. He's on the phone, mate. I'm about an hour away.
Yeah. So story before that, I was in Sydney on the Wednesday before that, and like I've got this suitcase that's pretty generic, and like a lot of people have the suitcase.
it's always a good thing.
And so I'm walking around Sydney with this suitcase, and I think it's mine, and it's all good. And then I go to unlock the suitcase. I'm like, oh, that's weird. The lock doesn't work. So tried opening it, whatever. I couldn't open it. I've gone, oh, maybe I've just set the wrong lock. Go to the locksmith. Locksmith, you know, they go, oh, we can pick it for you. They picked it, open. I see this mannequin in my suitcase, and I go, what the hell? So anyway, long story short, went back to Virgin. I go, I think someone's got my suitcase. They got my suitcase. And the guy's in Newcastle with my bag. So I was thinking I was going to miss this flight to New York.
So this is the start of the New York trip.
This was the start of the New York trip. So
You're down in Sydney.
Yeah. So that's the reason I hadn't had a chance to get change, Will. Otherwise, I was I think it was. I was actually pretty happy with the flight over. It's a long way though. I tell you.
Yeah, it's a long way. Going over, we had a couple of free seats right next to us. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you went over Sydney via Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, Hong Kong. Just a little stopover. Got some Macca's. I reckon it's the cheapest McDonald's in the world. It was like $9 for a coffee and brekkie. Pretty good feed.
Yeah.
And then go over to New York. We landed in at midday. And yeah, I mean, I don't reckon we were that jet lagged either. Like, it's pretty good. Like, you're buzzing when you're over there. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Landing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I think, buzzing, or I was so nervous, to be honest. Like, it's a huge city.
Charlie watched too much of the media about shootings and everything.
Yeah, I'd heard.
A bit wigged out.
I'd heard, like, obviously incredibly sad, but, you know, like I'd heard, the shooting a few weeks before at, the NFL headquarters, and I was just going, oh no, like, so walking around the street, sort of watching my back, and then after a while, you sort of do just get caught up in the buzz of the place, and I think for someone who is, pretty reserved about the amount of travel I do and that sort of thing, getting over there into the city and seeing the scale at which everything happens was really worthwhile.
Yeah, that's unreal. It seemed like, I mean, from the stories and everything, the photos you guys were sending and posting online, it seemed like it was an awesome time. So what was your routine while you were over there? What was like the days? Because obviously you were there for the pod. Yeah. So it was prioritizing podcasts with guests. So I know we've only released one episode, the one with Matt McLennan, First Eagle Investments, and a bunch to come. But what was the routine while you guys were over there?
Yeah, so we landed on a Thursday.
Pretty limited.
We landed on a Thursday, and then we had Matt McLennan on the Friday, so in the morning around 10 a.m. So we sort of had half a day to get ourselves sorted. And yeah, day one we were straight into it with Matt McLennan on the Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were lovely. Like, his team were awesome, welcomed us. made us real comfortable. And then
Had a view over Central Park.
the view
Yeah.
was definitely the best out of all the places we went. It was
So-
like over that tower that's
Billionaires Road.
Billionaires
That's
Road,
falling over.
Which the one
Nah,
that's,
no.
might not be there in a couple of years. So no, it was cool to see. It's funny, Matt was actually saying that before that was built, they had like a full on view of Central Park, and now that
Unobstructed.
One tower, now that one tower blocks it a bit. But that might be going anyway.
Nah.
No, but yeah, he was pretty cool. Like
Mm.
on a personal level, like as someone who sort of works in the space, knowing how well renowned Matthew is, like he's a successor of Jean-Marie Eviard, who is sort of up there with the likes of Buffett and Benjamin Graham
Yeah.
in the value investing world.
Definitely.
And it's definitely not like the sexy place to be in funds management at the moment, with the Mag 7 ripping and I guess a lot of those companies not really fitting the bill for a value investor. But one of the cool things about Matt and something we've been posting about online and everything is his huge exposure to gold, which gold was certainly going up when we interviewed him, but it's definitely ripped since. So it's sort of cool to unpack with him like why he actually likes gold, why it's a good investment, because I hadn't actually thought about it. And then at IMARC 2 days ago, we we're holding that gold bar. And some of the stuff he was saying about it being so dense and like easy to store. You hold that little gold bar and it weighs like how much did it weigh? Like 15 kilos.
It weighed 12.5 kilos.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was worth, I think, like 2.5 million. Don't
Aussie.
quote me.
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
it's like 2.5
the
million
size of
Aussie
a
or something.
phone, like lengthwise, I guess.
Yeah.
Heavy, like dense.
Yeah, it
We're
felt.
chucking that photo of Charlie now on the screen so you can see it. Yeah.
No, it was the whole concept of it as a store of value, and it's why you see like those videos of people lining up,
Outside the bullion in Martin Place.
in Martin Place, and it's like a lot of the people that have sort of been, we get mixed sorts of messages around some of the things, we put out Instagram with reels and stuff. You'll get friends taking the mickey, and then a few of them were just going, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that." Like, that's why gold is,
Good store of value.
it's a good store of value.
And a great hedge. Because
Yeah.
it was the two things that Matt was saying was obviously its density and its the ease with which it can be stored,
Yep.
but also its inertness. So the
Yep.
fact that, don't get me wrong, gold does have some utility, especially in technology and electronics, but the amount that is used is so small, it doesn't really move the market.
Yeah,
So it's actually quite useless in that sense.
yeah,
So the fact that then therefore has a low beta, so low relationship to actually the movements of the market.
yeah.
Unlike iron ore, which sort of jumps around with
Exactly.
like construction activity or whatever.
And
yeah,
copper as well. So
Yeah.
copper, like often referred to as Dr. Copper, because it's like the indicator of the economy as it moves through the cycles. Because
Cool.
the idea is people invest more in copper, invest more in projects.
Yeah.
Demand for copper goes up, prices soar, which
Yeah.
is the idea with the data centers and the boom that's happening now. But then, and copper's had a great run since your episode with Matt as well, and that was late September. And copper's had a great run.
We've got, just on that, we've got a Sparky friend who won't be named, but in the back of his tray
Always flogs copper.
always has these massive piles of copper that he's ripped out as projects and stuff.
Yeah.
And
So
you
you'd
just,
be laughing at the moment with the price.
yeah,
going up.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So you can tell what the copper price is doing by looking at his ute tray.
Well, no, that's actually true because there's a massive uptick in crime in terms of people breaking into construction sites and ripping out copper wires and things when the price does go up. So
Yeah, I'll disclaim his all.
It's all above board.
It's all
stuff.
above.
It's all above
stuff.
board.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah,
just scrap copper that he
Yeah.
grabbed.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, so Matt McLennan was the first one, and then you had a few others. What was, I guess, obviously we're going to leave it to obviously all the interviews to extract all the lessons. But what were some of the things that you guys took away from 2 weeks of interviewing a lot of investment bankers, lawyers, and financial professionals in the biggest corporate city in the world? So what were the things you guys took away?
Yeah, look, for me, it was just how elite Australians actually are. Like in the
Really?
yeah. So
I would not have thought that. Like
Wait.
that was the insight.
when you go to the US, right? Like you sort of think, oh, Australia's irrelevant. Like, no Australians are going to be really moving the needle. Like, obviously, there's a few successful ones, but so arguably the most powerful corporation in the world, News Corp, they are like so influential over there. Like, appreciating that for the first time of just, how widespread, because you see Fox, you see all these things, and that's Australian, like, origins.
Mm.
You then also look at like some of the leading companies on the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and often there's Australians either CEO or 2IC, Like Mark Pillamo, for example, at Blue Owl. He's senior managing director there. They're just a behemoth in the asset management space, and there are Aussies left, right, and centre absolutely killing it. And a lot of it comes down to we actually are very blessed here. We have great education systems, and some great opportunities to get exposure. And my biggest takeaway was, yes, that there's a lot of elite Australians over there, but for people willing to move over there and buy into whatever your career is, the upside's pretty huge. So that was a big thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we were sort of saying, like, what was surprising was that, like, from a career perspective, and like work-wise, it's not that much different to like Australia, right? Like you over there, you're speaking the same sort of languages, like where they're asking the same sort of questions we'd ask an Australian guest we have over here. We're speaking the same language. Like, yeah, it's pretty interesting, like how attainable it actually is once you actually get over there and speak to them. Like we had a lawyer on, David Tay, who was saying that they love hiring Australian like associates. So once you've done this sort of grad program, he's like,
wow,
they're some of the best crop of legal professionals you can get. And he's like, I wish more people would come over here and apply. Like,
that's incredible.
And like you go back home and you speak to some of my mates I do law with, and a lot of them just think that like working in the US would be so hard and like
it's unattainable.
Yeah,
it's a nice to have. A lot of people, I think for that reason, a lot of people then tend to divert to London.
Yeah,
and they say, okay, that's the sort of European financial hub. That's the area that I want to go to. It's obviously part of the Commonwealth as we are, so it's easier. Visa is easier, that sort of thing. But the opportunities that exist in the US, I mean, we look at just the sheer size of the country, and then the size of New York as well, compared to. I mean, obviously London's huge, but it's just on another scale.
I would say New York in particular. Like, it would be wrong to liken it to Sydney or somewhere, but if you look at like around the world, any of the capital market sort of hubs, you do naturally get people gravitating towards them from different backgrounds. So in New York, like, even I didn't get one comment about like sort of our accent being Australian or anything, which I found really interesting because I thought everyone would sort of go, oh, that's Aussie accent.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a melting pot over there.
But it's just exactly like there's people from left, right, and centre that have moved to New York for opportunity, and I think that in itself is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And we had Stephen Marshall on the podcast, and that episode will be out soon, from the American Australian Association, or the Australian American Association. It's one of them.
Yeah,
and the work that people like him do in making it quite accessible for Australians who are looking to, get their feet on the ground over there is really impressive.
Yeah, they had like a young healthcare analyst who worked at an Australian fund. She covers a lot of the big biotech pharma companies. So she had negotiated to just sit in their office in the AAA, work out of there. And Stephen was like, yeah, that's awesome. Come do that for a bit. And so she's based out of New York now, gets to work over there while covering those companies. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty awesome opportunity that the AAA has, and they're keen to hear from more Australians that want to go over there. So Stephen was saying to us, like, anyone that we know that wants to come over, put them in touch. Like, it's definitely something that we're keen to make a bit well more known, and then Stephen's definitely keen for that as well.
Yeah. And it's definitely sorry.
No, I was going to say, what is it exactly? Because hearing that feedback from Stephen is pretty amazing for anyone listening now, any student or grad who's always wanted to go over to the US, to hearing that there is a strong market for it. What is it that the US companies like so much about Australian students, graduates, people that listen to the show right now? What is it that appeals to them so much?
I reckon the biggest thing is that, like, if you're willing to make that big move and move to a city like New York, that already shows that you're pretty hungry. And I reckon the biggest thing that differentiates anyone in any career is just like work ethic and willingness to learn and get better. Yeah. And I feel like if you're an Australian that's gone, no, I'm going to leave home, move 18 hours around the world, I feel like that's pretty powerful to someone that's looking to hire you, right? You're sort of showing that you're willing to go all in.
Yeah.
And I reckon a lot of those places look for that, and that definitely helped out. I reckon some of the people we interviewed, a lot of their careers have been quite global. They've sort of had a proven track record of showing that they're willing to go to random places to work. Like, two of the guests both worked internships in Hong Kong when they were in
Hong Kong or Singapore.
In their final year of uni or something. And then, so immediately they're looking at that and going, like, they're keen to get out of their comfort zone. They're keen to move.
Yeah.
I feel like that helps a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't reckon it's anything like other than that in particular, right? Like, there's nothing that like you learn specifically in Australia, like in capital markets or in law, that's particularly unique or different. It's more, I reckon, around the attributes more behaviourally that Australians have that are willing to go over there and move.
Yeah, I do also think a lot of the benefits of Australian culture are conducive to being a good teammate when it comes to
teamwork's a big thing.
They're big on team and your ability to buy into whatever the North Star the firm is working towards. And the other point I'd touch on is the signals that you can send, as Will sort of was alluding to, by packing up your life and moving to the other side of the world. Now, like I was thinking while Will was answering, from the Australian perspective, like you don't even need to. So if you're looking at a job in Australia, and how do I sort of show the same sort of signal? Obviously, I'm not moving as far, but there's ways that you can show that you're hungry. And I think people definitely. There was a guy. I'm trying to remember which one of the guests it was, but there was one of the guests said, "You're happy to wear sort of underperformance for a bit if you know that you've got someone who is so hungry to do well." Whereas on the flip side, you could have the most talented person, but their hunger and their desire to be better and improve continuously, if that's not there, get rid of them straight away. And that was his advice. He said, literally, I get rid of them straight away. And so the key for me in that is also not going over there thinking that you need to know everything, because there's sometimes a view that, if I'm going to go and take on a certain risk, I want to be as well prepared as I can be. Like that state doesn't exist. Like that state of being does not exist is probably the view I had, and that you've sort of got to be comfortable knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. That was probably another big takeaway for me.
Maybe there's an opportunity here for us to, because obviously a lot of our listeners are early career starters, graduates, students, etc. Maybe there's a way that we could actually start connecting them with these firms overseas, like on our website, or start having some sort of job ads, or maybe even a link to the American Australian Association, and start actually making those introductions on behalf of our listeners, because that's really what the show is about. It's if we're Sweat Capital, right? If we're having all this energy and enthusiasm and ambition that we want to invest into our careers and into our lives, then okay, where do we direct that? The US right now, it looks like, and New York, like you guys just experienced, is not a bad bet.
No, absolutely. I think, and ultimately, you're exactly right, Dimitri. Like, part of what we want to do here is play a role in facilitating people in understanding, how to make that next step in their journey, and that for me could look like so many different ways. And facilitating connections is so powerful. Like, I mean, Will works for a broking firm. They get paid pretty well to do that. So there's clearly value in it. And so we're really open to ideas as well around how people think we could be useful. In that regard.
One of the things I liked a lot about the Matt McLennan pod as well, and there is something to be said about hearing insights from someone who's so well esteemed in the industry. Like, obviously, we love talking to people at all aspects in their career, whether they're early graduates, seasoned professionals, CEOs of companies, and we've had the whole range on the show previously. But having Matt McLennan's insights, given he's such a well-renowned investor, it was so cool to hear him talk about the idea of being lonely and feeling like he's lonely as an investor, and how he spends a lot of time in his own mind, really just unpacking ideas, toying with different scenarios and alternatives and weighing up decisions. It was quite interesting hearing that from someone of his pedigree, because even in my very limited experience so far working in funds management at IFM just since Feb this year, it's just you get to those points where you have the same information as someone else, as other people in the market, yet you have diametrically opposed views and perspectives on whether it's a specific stock or a sector or a commodity or whatever the case may be. You can literally have the same information and just completely different view, and
doesn't mean you're wrong.
No, and it can feel quite lonely, because everything that we are taught in school and uni is that there's a right answer and then there's a bunch of wrong ones. Yeah. So you can sit across from someone, whether it's another fundie from another company or even an analyst or a broker or whatever the case may be, you can literally sit across from them, have the same information. You guys, we're talking about the same thing, but have a completely different view. Yeah. And And the fact that he was discussing how that can actually feel quite lonely at a time, and how you have to actually have your view, have your perspective, and then be willing to stand out in the cold on your own and wait for time to prove you right. That idea is really powerful, and yeah, it was good to hear it from him.
Yeah, I think he even made that point, like especially in the current age with AI, like access to information is like almost fully democratized, right? Everyone has access to information. Whereas like if you're a fundy, 50 years ago, it was a bit harder to be able to condense all this information into something that was like manageable. Whereas now everyone can sort of do that with all the tools available out there, all the different platforms and everything. So now the real edge is how you interpret information and data, and form a view, and really be willing to back that view through the cycle through time, which is what Matt and his team do at First Eagle. So it's pretty cool.
Back in the day, you would have, let's say you wanted to get insights from Warren Buffett in the 80s or 90s, you would have had to fly to Omaha, Nebraska, and literally be a Berkshire shareholder, go to the AGM, sit there and watch him with Charlie up on stage, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, sit there, watch him up on stage, take a bunch of notes, and then fly home and then basically try and group your thoughts together. Now, there's probably 50 videos like 24 hours after the AGM's happened, and you can go and read all the AGM reports and shareholder letters. It's just, information has become so democratized, and people are having more opposed views than ever. So you'd think that the market tends to move, or people, and it's still fine to have that different view. But that was just good to hear from him.
Yeah. And on just sort of rounding out that point around the ability to think, there's a really interesting company called Pan, and they've got some, when you initially read it, a lot of people, their initial response is, oh wow, this is a bit out there. But when you actually apply some context to what their language is, they've got this architecture that they call the Think architecture, and I strongly recommend people to go subscribe to their Substack. It is quite interesting stuff.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes, and it's all around this concept of enduring competitive advantage in the, as you say, in the land or in the world when AI and information is literally like at our fingertips. Like Will's, and we might get to this, but Will's godfather, he whenever he's got a question, he just goes to his phone, hey chat, and has it straight away. So that's no longer the edge. The edge is your ability to think. And MIT, final little bit of piece on this, MIT has some research that they're working on at the moment that's showing as humans we're actually starting to think less. And that in and of itself is great. Like, to me, that's pretty fascinating. Yeah.
On AI, like that MIT study you're referring to is absolutely wild. Like
Did you read it?
I dug into it the other day, and it's pretty scary.
So you do.
People have
you do listen.
It's pretty wild. Like you look at how people now using it. Basically, the study, for those who aren't aware, the study tracked people who use AI, who use Google search, and use nothing in the format of an essay assignment.
Oh, cool.
And so it went through those 3 different conditions, and it found that the people who used AI versus the people who used nothing, just wrote it on their own, felt such a reduced sense of ownership over their work.
Yep.
They were unable to recall what they had written, and they just felt overall like lower satisfaction and connection to the actual output and the outcomes that even if they achieved a better result, they felt so far removed from the actual work that it took to get it, that it reduced their overall feeling towards the outcome, which is pretty scary. You think about how that trickles down into, let's say, 5-10 years when everyone's using it for everything, AI that is, and the ability to think and comprehend and reason and make critical decisions is just completely gone.
Yeah, the temptation's pretty easy when like you've got a big assignment ahead of you and you just want to bang out the first like 500 words. And I know I've sort of been there. Like, I can't imagine the people starting university like now when all these tools are so developed and so good. Yeah, there's going to be a whole cohort of people coming through that perhaps have never even properly sat down with a blank Word doc and actually written an assignment from scratch. Like that's probably something we're working towards. Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, and even I've got a friend who's does high school tutoring, and one of the things that he's noticing is with Year 9 students. So these are kids who started in 2023. So now, basically, when ChatGPT 3 came out, the first chatbot, when that really became popular, they've entered your high school, entered year 7 with ChatGPT, and now they're in year 9. And over those 3 years, their ability to read a text and actually comprehend and summarize. Let's say you read a page of text, whether it's a story, whatever the case may be, and then say, okay, in 3 bullet points, summarize this. Their ability to do that has just reduced dramatically.
Yeah.
Because they can't, because it's just, copy and paste into ChatGPT, will give it to me, and then I can go from there. That critical thinking is just, it's eradicating rapidly.
Absolutely.
Anyway, other things from the US as well, I think was pretty cool. We went to 2 NFL games, which
That's awesome.
pretty big for me. I'm a big NFL fan. We actually saw Jackson Dart's first NFL start as well.
Wow.
He could be the next big thing at the New York Giants.
See you, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, so that was cool. And I mean, college football too. I enjoy college football game.
Oh, which games did you catch?
In Boston College versus University of California.
Yeah.
Apparently those are mental. How was it?
Oh yeah, and like that's not even like a big ticket
Game or anything.
and they get like easily 35,000 people.
The thing that got me was the whole tailgating thing that they do before, like before.
insane.
Did you guys jump on?
No, we were a bit stuck out a bit, like sore thumbs, to be honest. Like
Were you wearing the suit?
no, wasn't wearing the suit. But like, it's just a bit of like it's a shock to the system. Those whole like cultural experiences where like it's something you're not used to. I was going, why are these people in the back of utes like sinking beers? Like it's
why not, mate?
No, like fair enough. But yeah, it was amazing, and like just the sheer like passion that people have for be it their team or their country or whatever over in the US is it was quite noticeable.
We should try to get maybe a college coach on the pod, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a US tour number 2.
Yeah.
Even line up. And see
there's
how.
some good operators. Like coaching NFL or American football is a really, really cool thing. Very strategic, very reliant on like, they say it's a game of inches. Like it's a pretty cool sport.
I'm
like,
sorry, they
get
take
remunerated
the
very
mickey with the amount of players that are in the culture in the college games. Like
the squads are very big.
There's like
college.
400.
Yeah.
It looked like half the grandstand was on the sidelines.
Yeah.
All strapped up, ready to go. But
It's actually funnily enough, it's actually a pretty good allegory around like what makes a good team. Like everyone, they have like such segmented roles. Whereas like when the sports we watch in Australia, like NRL and AFL, everyone's sort of like to an extent a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Like in AFL, everyone's kicking the ball, handballing.
particularly in
tackling.
AFL, yeah.
And then NRL, everyone's running, catching, passing, right, pretty much. Whereas like in American football, there's one guy on the team that will ever pass the ball, and there's a handful of guys that will ever catch it, and then you can go through all the positions, but it's very specialist, and that's why the coaching part's really cool. So I actually would love to get a
coach on.
American football coach on.
Maybe we could get a college coach, and he could actually talk about then the student athlete pathways that exist. So not only for NFL and American football, but even other sports.
Yeah.
Like there are so many opportunities, even for an exchange, because a lot of the people in our following in the show would love to, I would say, explore that, and maybe that's a good segue into a career there. It's like a good taste of 3 to 6 months. I've got a bunch of mates who have done it, and I wanted to do it previously, but ran into a little thing called COVID. But it was it would have been. I think that's a really cool thing to do, and a lot of people are closed off to the idea here.
Doing some study over in the States.
Doing some study, and even as a student athlete, whether you're playing, I don't know, like basketball, I imagine would be pretty hard to get into, but there are social teams obviously there, like football, soccer, tennis. There are so many opportunities. Swimming, water polo. There are so many opportunities over there, but it could be a good thing, and then extract those insights as well. So.
Definitely.
And then you guys got back, and then pod was full steam ahead, work and uni full steam ahead, and then you guys got here on Monday for IMARC.
Yeah, down in Sydney.
So,
It was cool. It was sort of, I don't know, I think we've done 5 pods this week, so we're a bit knackered.
Yeah, 5 pods, and we emceed the gala dinner as well, which was a cool experience.
First, and just to jump in, shout out to Shireen, who at IMARC. So for those that don't know, IMARC is the International Mining and Resources Conference every year in Sydney.
Glad you know it.
And, well, that's where we met last year, which is pretty wild. So it was actually a really cool thing to be back there, and how much has happened in the space of a year.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty wild. But
it's pretty funny because, like, we sort of went, we were like, oh, it'd be cool to do something together, blah, blah, blah. And then didn't really talk too
couple
much,
months.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah.
I can't really
It's
remember.
pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you took me to Toddy's.
But yeah, because you were
Had date night with Jimmy.
Wine and dined in.
Yeah.
Because I remember Charlie was down and he was like, "Mate, you're around. It'd be great to catch up." I was like, "Yeah, know this spot. I'm sure you've never heard of it before." It's like everyone goes there, but yeah, no, it was good. So and everything progressed from there. But yeah, it was cool to be back. And I mean, how much has happened from last year to this year? Think about now. We all had speaking engagements this year. Obviously, new podcast, all like as a team together now.
Yeah.
You guys emceeing the gala in front of 450 mining executives and investors, which is pretty wild. And
750, mate.
was it
Oh,
750?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, I've
Yeah.
massively undercooked it there.
Dimitri was clearly in a good state.
I was just-
I'm
I mean,
kidding.
I
He-
just
he
thought,
was
oh,
incredibly professional, very sharp.
There was 40, 45 odd tables. I was like, 10 people per table.
Totally.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
no, there was some more tucked away.
75 tables.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it was awesome, and I think hopefully more to come on the events front, and in-person engagements for our brand. Like I think
Sure.
that's obviously going to be key for us in terms of really getting to know our audience, and yeah, pretty excited.
Obviously, it was an interesting time to be at the conference this year, and hot topic was critical minerals.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, as like the deal
Just
with
as Albo and Trump signed it.
Literally that
Yeah.
morning that the conference kicked off. So, what were some of the takeaways you guys took from? I mean, we won't go into all the pods because they're going to be released like in the next few days and weeks. But yeah, just high level on mining and the industry.
I think the biggest takeaway, I think last year, there's like a little space in the exhibit where all the juniors stands are. And I think, last year it wasn't really that busy, but this year it was like humming. Like, I mean, we were trying to go around and do these little video interviews, and we're struggling to find CEOs and people from those companies that are actually free to chat, which I reckon if we did that last year, people would have been a lot more free. And then you go around, look at the company, you search that share price up, and a lot of them are ripped like 100% in the last month, and you're like far out.
No wonder they were all sitting there so smiley.
Yeah,
weren't they?
exactly.
Yeah.
Very cheerful.
So that was probably a key takeaway for me.
Yeah. No, I think key takeaway for me was just the role that these minerals, like, it's pretty funny. Like, Will at one point, I was like, "Oh, Will, that's a critical minerals mine." And he go, "No, mate, that's base metals." So for me, it was understanding sort of the role that critical minerals companies at all levels of, and a lot of them are quite small, can play in Australia's future economic prosperity. I think that was really key for me, and probably close to my biggest takeaway for the time. Yeah.
It just reinforced how many opportunities there are in the sector for so many young people. Like whether you're just whether you're studying commerce, some sort of engineering, civil, mechanical, mining, or any sort of geology or earth sciences. The amount of opportunities that exist, even if you're a tradie.
Oh yeah.
And
they get paid so well. I was speaking to, sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna say, I was speaking to this one girl last night, and she said her company paid off her whole HEX, and is now paying her like 50 grand more than anyone I know really at our age, and it's just because there's just no one. And she's good. Like I'm sure she's very good at her job, but it's just if there's a place to play, I would say that's probably
100%. Well, and we talk about moving to New York if you're in the corporate world, but if you're in anything engineering related or trade related, like this is the place to be.
Oh.
This is absolutely the place to be, and it doesn't have to be moving across the world. You can literally move across the state, and you can fly. They'll pay you to fly in and fly out every other week. So it's the opportunities are there if you're willing as a young person to get out the comfort zone a bit.
But exactly. You got to be willing to. Nothing comes for free.
No.
So you got to be willing to
Exactly.
take that leap.
And it's big days. Like when I was out there, it's big 10, 12-hour shifts, especially
Absolutely.
if you're on night shift as well. It's pretty rough. Fortunately, I wasn't. But look, there are definitely sacrifices that you make, and it depends on the company, it depends on the roster. But as a general sector, like it really is like a rising tide for the world. Like everyone needs critical minerals. We need more energy, more materials. It's just,
Absolutely. Oh, boys, look, thank you both so much. Like I've really enjoyed sort of the past month. Obviously, been pretty full on, but I think we're off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of room to grow as always. There's going to be more stuff that we're going to reflect on next month. But yeah, it's been great, lads, and let's just keep the momentum. More content, yeah. Anything else, Will?
Nothing from me, lads. It was good. Good month. Let's keep going.
Awesome.